Welcome along to Matchday Live here ahead of Leicester City's first Championship away game of the season. Things started brilliantly, didn't they, a week ago at home to Coventry. That continued in midweek with that cup win over Burton Albion. So hopefully we see the momentum continue again this afternoon. It's a tough away trip though, up to Huddersfield to face Neil Warnock's side. They lost last week, but obviously at home it'll be a really tough test. Let's see what Enzo Maresca has done then to his team. He makes 4 changes from the side that beat Burton Albion in midweek in the Carabao Cup. Out go Justin, Chowdhury, Ndidi and Albrighton, replaced by Vestergaard, Ricardo, Dewsbury Hall and Mavididi. So here's Maresca's first Championship away 11 in full. It's Jakub Stolarczyk in goal. Of course, Mads Hermansen has picked up a minor injury, but should be okay according to the manager for next week. It's a back 4 of Doyle, Vestergaard, Fass and Ricardo. We'll obviously see Ricardo pushing into midfield throughout the game. That midfield consists of Harry Winks, Dewsbury Hall and Dennis Pratt. The 2 wingers are Steffi Mavididi, Wanya Marcel Madavadua and Kelechi. Iheanacho retains his spot up front, having scored in midweek. On the bench for the Foxes, Daniel Everson, Danny Ward, James Justin, Jamie Vardy, Mark Albrighton, Hamza Chowdhury, Wilfred Ndidi, Luke Thomas and Ben Nelson. From Huddersfield's point of view, Neil Warnock made 10 changes ahead of their cup defeat to Middlesbrough in midweek, but he reverts back almost fully to the side that lost their opening Championship game away at Plymouth last week. He makes 1 change with captain Jonathan Hogg returning to the starting 11. So here's their 11. They've got Nichols in goal, Ruffles, Hellick, Pearson and Edwards across the back 4, with Rodoni and Hogg, that 1 change in midfield. And they've got Karoma, Diarra and Thomas in behind Danny Ward. Here in the studio with me, Dan Bates, Matt Elliott and Steve Walsh. Fantastic to have you both along with us. Obviously 2 ex-Leicester defenders, and you're excited about this new Championship season, Matt, aren't you?
Yeah, very much so. I think got off to I wouldn't say perfect start, but an excellent kick-off to the season. Getting the 3 points at home. New manager, some new players, a new feel, and a new era. It's been spoken about regularly already for the club, and you can feel it from the supporters. They're full of energy and optimism, really, which has surprised me a little bit how quickly everyone's sort of shaken off the disappointment of last season and looking forward to this. And I think for a number of reasons it will be interesting viewing. As much as anything, seeing how Leicester actually go about their business, which was pretty impressive last weekend, really impressive against Burton in the week, and if they can follow up on that with a nice solid performance away from home, then you're really looking at a bright start, aren't you? Yeah.
Walsh, it's fantastic to have you along as well.
Yeah,
good afternoon in a brand new studio. You've obviously won promotions from this division into the Premier League in your playing career, so hopefully Leicester can do that again this season.
Yeah, hopefully they can. We've seen big changes. I think the fans, just reiterating what Matt said, that the fans have soon forgotten that the heartache of relegation, and everyone's up for it. I sense a good morale, really, and between everybody, so I'm looking forward to the season. At first, when this is my first obviously TV game, and Huddersfield away, when I put it on in my diary, it was a bit of a shock, from last season. But no, I think the changes have been good. I think that was needed. I think the fans can see that, and that's why I think that they're right up for it now. And this will be a test today, Neil Warnock, because we're going to have to go to places, and you'll have to go to Plymouth, you have to go to Millwall, and you're going to have to fight hard. And my knowledge of this division, it's not easy to get out of. Sometimes you can't play the fluent football that you want to play. Although we're against Coventry, we showed that extra class in the end. But for 70 minutes that game, it was Coventry could have been 2 or 3 up, and that was a little bit worrying. But the way that they showed character, I thought that was good. I saw some good individual performances, and I'm quite happy with the start. I mean, we're joint top of the league and we're in the next round of the cup. It's been a good week.
Yeah, it's been
but let's not get carried away.
Yeah, it has been a very good week indeed. We'll talk about team news in just a moment, some of the changes that Enzo Maresca has made ahead of this game. We'll also take a look back at that game with Burton Albion, of course, in midweek that Walshy was just referencing there, the Foxes, making it through to the next round of that cup competition. A very, very comfortable and convincing evening. We'll hear from the man himself. Enzo Maresca has been speaking about facing up against Neil Warnock's Huddersfield. And we'll look back at some classic strikes, two of them in fact, both in one game from Anthony Knockaert. Absolutely very special brace, that one, all those years ago. Right, team news then. Matt, we'll start with you. Obviously, we've seen four changes to the team that beat Burton Albion in midweek. The keeper retains his place. Obviously, that probably would have been a change had there not been the injury to Hermanson. So what do you make of it? Kelechi Iheanacho probably is the headline that he starts up front.
Yeah, I would say so. I think it's probably more relevant to sort of compare the changes from today to last weekend, really, rather than Burton. But the Burton fixture itself and the lineup and the way that they perform shows the depth in the squad, certainly at this level in the Championship. So that bodes well going forward. But in terms of the selection today, Iheanacho, I suppose, is the main talking point there. You know, a big decision really, and not making it dramatic or anything, as if to say, right, it's done and dusted now. Iheanacho will be playing in front of Vardy. I think it will be mixed and shared even at times. Perhaps the two of them might feature at different times further down the line, but at the same time, it's not a decision that would have been made easy, I wouldn't have think. Iheanacho, he turned the game round, certainly helped turn the game round last weekend. He was a major, prominent force in the week against Burton. Got his goal, got his assist, looked classy. So, probably deserves his opportunity, really. I think maybe at this moment in time, Iheanacho's style of play suits Enzo Maresca a little bit better than Jamie Vardy's right now.
You pleased to see Iheanacho in the starting eleven?
Yeah, I think he's earned the right. I think you look at him. He's frustrated me sometimes, but overall he scores goals, doesn't he? And he can create. And if he just shows me a little bit more effort in his demeanour, and then he can win a lot of people over. I just think sometimes he looks that lazy player, but what can you say? He scores goals, and he deserves the chance. I think that possibly now that I think it might be good to bring Vardy on as a sub and bring him on for the last half an hour when players are tired. You imagine him, because he's still got it. There's no doubt about it. There's no way he's nowhere near finished yet. A lot of people are saying this. I hear it, but it's rubbish. It really is. He's still got it, and sometimes, with this game of passing the ball and keeping the possession, I noticed we had about 571 passes. I wrote it down, against Coventry. It's unbelievable. So you can see what game plan, how we're supposed to play. And sometimes for Jamie Vardy, he's got to wait a long time to get the ball. And obviously balls over the top, it's not that kind of style of play. So I think Jamie's understands the situation. I think that he's still got it. There's no doubt, and I think that might be a good game plan just to start. Give him a chance and see if he follows up this week. If he scores again, he's going to be in next week. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, there was 2 goals for Jamie Vardy last time the Foxes played Huddersfield up at the John Smith Stadium, but it was that man on the screen behind us that stole all the headlines in midweek, that game against Burton, with a goal and an assist as the Foxes made it through to the second round of the competition.
But won back nicely by Leicester on that far side. They're shooting from right to left as we look, and here's Harry Winks, who's going to be the catalyst, really, that fulcrum in the heart of the pitch, you feel, this season for the Foxes. They're into the box again, dropped in towards the centre of the penalty area, and just like that, Kelechi Iheanacho gives Leicester City the lead. It's only taken 6 minutes. 4 years ago, when these two sides last met in 2019, Kelechi Iheanacho broke the deadlock then. He's done it now. and Leicester into a deserved early lead. Good finish from the Nigerian, and the Foxes in front.
Yeah, good play all round, wasn't it? Good approach work. The ball was lost in possession just very briefly, that then came back to a Leicester player. And then, as much as anything, stick play as it was, sort of weight of numbers.
Free kick taken quickly by Doyle, and Iheanacho's in behind here, and this is a good chance for Iheanacho to double his tally. He cuts it back. Brilliant finish from Wilfred Ndidi. Well, just like that, Leicester City have pounced. They caught Burton Albion on the back foot, and an excellently executed finish by Wilfred Ndidi opens up his body and steers it into the top corner to make it 2-0 on the stroke of half-time. Leicester 2, Burton Albion 0.
Well, what about that for a finish from Wilfred Ndidi? The man of the first half, I think it's fair to say. All round, there's been some decent performances in general from Leicester. None better than that man who just slotted that away in the top right-hand corner of Burton's goal. As we look at it, we were right behind it.
Yes, it was a very comfortable evening on Wednesday up at the Pirelli Stadium. Don't forget, for any game this season with us on Fox's Hub, you can either watch or listen to the games, depending on what regions you're in. You can listen to any games. That includes the one today. You can either buy seasonal passes, or a match pass just for today's game to listen to it. If you are here in the UK, there's also monthly passes available as well. If you're in certain territories as well, international audiences can watch the game with us on Fox's Hub. Again, you can either get a game-by-game pass, or a monthly pass, or even a seasonal pass. There's still an early bird offer available for those seasonal passes as well. So do have a look and head on to the website for more details of that. It was a comfortable evening, Walshy, wasn't it, on Wednesday?
They dominated the game, in large areas, and they were just you'd expected that, but it was clinical and good finishes, 2 great goals. Iheanacho amongst it, so it was a good finish from him to start the to give us that lead, and the unselfish pass back to Ndidi. What a finish, It's good to see Ndidi a little bit more in advance. So yeah, it was a clinical performance, and it's a place that people were thinking we're a little bit worried about, and we made it look pretty straightforward, and it was good to see for Leicester fans who had travelled as well. So yeah, it's just set us up nicely for this game now today, and this is a test and a way. Like I said before, Neil Warnock, you'll be getting in your faces. You could imagine his team meeting. We were speaking last night about it. I could imagine what he's saying. Get in the faces, get amongst them. They won't like it. This kind of thing. That's what Neil Warnock could be saying, because he can be a bit of a horrible man.
It's interesting you mentioned Ndidi there. That in the week, I actually gave him man of the match against Burton. On the face of it, a lot of people might disagree with that, with Iheanacho scoring 1 and assisting 1, but his overall play, when you were there live watching him, was really impressive. He was here, there and everywhere. Back defending, midfield, he was linking up, he was getting forward, making runs and scoring goals, as we saw. So it was like a complete all-round performance from him. And then I suppose it sort of typifies the competition for places, because he's not in the starting lineup today. And you're thinking, if you're Wilfred, I'd be thinking, well, he's playing me in this new role, unaccustomed.
He scored,
and I think he's exceeded expectations in that role. It might be a bit of a stopgap situation. Looks that way a little bit with Pratt coming in and Dewsbury Hall, but there's permutations there, aren't there, for the manager? But he's done as well as he possibly could, I would say, certainly in the week, and to a degree against Coventry, and he finds himself out of the team, because such is the level of competition, which again is a positive. That's a good thing, because I don't think it's necessarily a slur on Jamie Vardy that he's not playing today. It's not a slur on Wilfred Ndidi. It's just there are variable options for the manager, and he goes a certain way on this particular game.
Great. Go on, Martin.
Sorry, no, I'm just looking at the squad as a whole. Who you've got. in that squad, and like you say, there are different options and different permutations that you can play against different teams and different game plans. So I don't think.
Sorry, I was going to say James Justin coming in the week. He looked polished. He looked fit and raring to go. Top class performer. There's a case for him coming in at full-back. Hamza Chowdhury did excellently well.
He did, yeah.
Callum Doyle could play centre-half. Vestergaard comes in. He's obviously back in Vestergaard.
So you've got Ndidi, Ricardo, Justin coming back from serious injuries really over the last year or so, and it's not easy that coming back in. It takes a while. It takes 2 years to get over serious injuries really, to get back to yourself, and I see signs with Ndidi coming back to, as we remember him. God, he covered that much of the pitch. He was a terrific player at that time, and I see him coming back into that mould now, and I think there's a good squad understanding that this squad will be rotated throughout the season, and it was set for a very interesting season.
Absolutely. Enzo Maresca then has made 4 changes, as we've said, for the game with Huddersfield today. And in midweek, he was speaking to the press about Neil Warnock and the test that they face today at the John Smiths.
No, very tough game for sure, 100%. They are very aggressive. Will be another more game that for sure we're gonna try with our way to play, but because they are very, very aggressive, it's a team that they play almost man to man, so will be difficult to find space solution, but we're gonna try.
To go there and win 3 in a row, that would give you a little bit of momentum to start the new season. How important would that be, do you think, to start picking up that momentum as early as you can?
Oh, yeah, for sure. That will be important for us to win one more game, but for them also it's important to win a game. So yeah, we start 1 week ago. As you said, we had 2 games. We won both. The team was quite good in both games. In some moment better, in some moment not so good, but I think it's part of the moment, it's part of the journey in a team that started 1 month ago, 40 days ago.
And the final one from me, Enzo, what are the areas, I guess, that you're looking to improve on in those areas that haven't been so good?
Probably, as I said, after Coventry game, to control a little bit better counter-attacker. But also, it's normal against a team that, to be honest, I already knew them, but they surprised me even more in terms of you can see clearly how good they are. They are well organized, and they have some good players, and they are very dangerous in counter-attacker.
On Huddersfield, managed by Neil Warnock, what do you know about Neil?
A lot, to be honest, a lot, because first of all, big respect, because big respect for a manager that many years involved in football, many good things in terms of get promoted many times. So yeah, I know a lot.
I guess one of the things that makes it an enticing encounter, an interesting game, is that clash of styles and maybe philosophies. I just wonder how you view the game in that sense of Neil Warnock has a very set way about doing things, and you bring something very different.
It's a way to see the things in different way. I believe in something, he believes in something, and the rest of 1,000 managers, each of us, we believe in something different. So when you believe in something, you give all 100% to see, to realize what you see.
That was Enzo Maresca there speaking ahead of this game with Huddersfield today. He's made 4 changes to the side that beat Burton Albion in midweek. I guess the headline team news, as we've been discussing, is that Kelechi Iheanacho starts up front for the Foxes this afternoon. Walshy, what are your first impressions of Enzo Maresca and the start that he's made? He obviously hasn't been here that long, but he seems to have got his style across.
Yeah, it's quite refreshing to see. I think, like we said, we needed change in a lot of areas, and he's got a very good knowledge of not only football but the opposition. He knows already, you know, with the aggressive side of Neil Warnock, and you can hear him. He seems, and you'd expect that coming from, you know, where he's come from in the Man City household. So he's he's certainly got his own style, and you know, like I say, I'm cautiously talking in a sense of, you know, against Coventry. I thought, you know, we got counter-attack there quite wide open, and that was a little bit worrying. But I was just pleased in the way that overall how we played, because I like the fact of he likes to get the ball forward quick. You know, even though you want to keep possession, it's a different style than what Rodgers had in a sense. And the two wide men, he likes quick wingers, and you know, this inverted fullbacks, you know, you can see what he's trying to do. He's trying to and condense the spaces and push men forward, which I like. And he certainly, you know, he talks the right way. He seems to have a good understanding with his players, and so far so good. So I'm pleased, and you know, we wish him all the best. It's early days in his career, and you know, this will just be a little test for him, and we'll see. He's talked about the game, and yeah, I'm confident.
He's very calm and assured, isn't he? And confident in his work and what he wants and how he wants the players to go about their business. And you know, I think players look to that and look for that sort of leadership, if you like, and you know, the clarity of what it is he's asking them to do. It seems that the majority of the players, if not all of them, sort of buying into it. They're excited by sort of extending themselves as well, and as well as being a group that are developing. And like we said, it was times it's a new era a little bit, isn't it? You know, almost not a totally fresh start, but a new beginning, new opportunity for a lot of players. And it's I mean, personally myself, I sort of keep flashing my mind back to, I wouldn't mind being in this scenario, playing under a manager like that, and seeing where it takes you. It's a bit of an adventure. No one quite knows. There's no guarantees, but you know, certainly the early signs are very positive.
Yeah. As you've been seeing on the screen just a little bit earlier, the Leicester players are out for their warm-ups up at Huddersfield. Just before they did come out, though, we spoke to fullback Ricardo to preview the game today.
Ricardo, good to see you. Nothing like an English summer, eh?
Yeah. It's like Portugal, just a little bit different.
You're in good spirits. How are the lads feeling after this one? It's been an intense first week of the season.
Yeah. But at the same time, we did 2 games. We won 2 games, so I would say pretty good, and excited for the first away game for the league.
I'm sure that you as a group have worked on many things over the summer to work with Enzo's new style of play. Is there anything specifically you've worked on as a group this week after the Coventry game?
No, I would say pretty the same that we've been doing since the beginning of the pre-season, like starting preparing to do what he wants, new ideas, and keep doing what we're doing to keep improving.
You can tell us now because this is going out on Leicester's TV channel, but is there anything about Huddersfield that you've noticed that maybe you can take advantage of?
We know they are really aggressive and they have a strong team. We have to win duels today because they will need to fight for sure, and at the same time we will need to show our personality and quality and try to play.
That was Ricardo there speaking to our commentator today, James Fielden. It's very much a different role, isn't it, for Ricardo, what we're seeing in this system, but he seems to be taking in his stride, pushing into midfield.
Yeah, I think he's embracing it and enjoys it, doesn't he? He's a quality footballer. Plays numerous positions for Leicester, and this is another string to his bow. But it's interesting actually, because in the week, Hamza Chowdhury played at fullback, but it was him who went into the midfield from the left-hand side. So even that's being mixed around a little bit. It's not necessarily has to be the right back, whoever that may be, in this case Ricardo. But yeah, he's probably the most adept, most suitable to slot in there alongside. He's very neat, tidy, isn't he? Very rarely gives away possession. In conjunction with Harry Winks as well, just gives Leicester that solid platform from which, you know, all the forward-thinking players can branch out and do their stuff. So he fits the role perfectly, pretty much, doesn't he? Really, he can cover both positions quite comfortably.
I think they understand that rotation, though. You know, when a player does come out of position and then someone else slots in, you know, I think it's good now. They've got a good understanding and good shape to the team. Although they lost it a little bit at Coventry when, you know, we started to try and press higher and we got caught with a few counters from Coventry, which was worrying. But
that's the issue, isn't it? I think, you know, it's pros and cons. You know, any decision, position, team selection, whatever. But it gives you plenty of advantages, i.e., as Walshy mentioned, you know, more players getting forward in bigger numbers. But if you do turn it over lightly, like you just said there against Coventry, there was evidence of it. You can get exposed because you're not set up in your areas to defend as you're accustomed to. So,
and you can imagine they've looked at this. They'll have watched the game, and they'll look at them things, and that's something to look at closely and get it right.
Well, how do you stop it as an opposition?
Well, listen, as defenders, as centre backs, because my one worry with a couple of our centre backs when they come, Soyuncu when he came, Faz when he came, they start brilliantly and they defend well, and then suddenly when you're losing a game, they'll start gallivanting onto the left wing or the right wing, and you're losing your shape. And this is what happens, and I think that's been kind of where we've been exposed, really, because we've been losing that shape because of it. And these centre backs now, they've just got to think, right, we're centre backs, we're going to stop anyone coming through now. That's what your job is there for. So, you know, as much as I didn't expect Vestergaard to start, he has been solid, you know, but vulnerable if you do get on that counter. He's a big lad and it's hard to get back in, but if he defends solidly and right, there's no reason why he should just sit there, him and Faz, and really they shouldn't. You know, Doyle did well. He looked in stages really good player, good footballer as well. Winks for me was from what I've seen from him, good signing, very good signing, a good footballer, you know, and a bit of a creator. My only worry is, can we score enough goals this season with the likes of Harvey Barnes? You know, I was talking last night in this Q&A, he'd get 10-12 goals, would he, at least? Maddison on near enough, you'd be expecting 20 goals from him, so that's what, 32, and then you had Tielemans that get 8-10 goals, so you've taken out away
goals to replace,
creators and goals. So, you know, that's what I'm interested in seeing. Can we, you know, Dewsbury Hall was outstanding in that second half against Coventry. That's the best performance I've ever seen in playing a second half in half a game. But I still feel that there are goals in the team. Is there enough? I don't know.
Yeah, I think going back to your original question there, basically about defensive aspect of it. I mean, there's quality in the side. They'll keep the ball for long periods of the game, create opportunities enough to get good goals or sufficient goals, I think. But there is that little bit of concern, I think, over how you defend when the ball is turned over, i.e. when Leicester lose possession, because, you know, you're out of position normally because of the way you're setting up. So you can leave yourself exposed, and I think when it's just a back three, literally a back three, it can be a bit of a problem because you're strung out across the pitch all of a sudden. There are gaps for centre forwards, advanced midfielders to run into. And if you narrow up, obviously there's space out wide because you haven't got wing backs there to cover, really. You've got forward wide players who are going to be slow getting back. And, you know, Winks can be exposed a little bit there in midfield if Ricardo decides to venture forward a little bit. So you've got to be secure in possession. And I think, I hate going on about it, but it is a bit of a case, you know, it's very similar to how Man City play with that. But you see Man City's defenders now, they're willing to go 1v1. You know, John Stones,
take
Diaz,
risks sometimes.
Carl Walker, they can go up against 1v1 because they are top notch. Questionable whether Leicester's defenders were happy in that situation 1v1. I never used to be happy in a 1v1. I just used to slow people down so I could get some help. But that is a bit of a concern. I think the back three as well, and they're a little bit too deep because they're not the quickest. they're liable to sit off, and that can cause space as well. So little things for the manager to address and look at, which is why I think there's a big case for James Justin being on the scene at some stage.
He will be.
More often than not.
He will
But
be.
You were going to say, well, sorry.
I was just going to say that we've got to be prepared to, in possession especially, is to try and squeeze that space and go 1v1. You've got to be brave sometimes as a defender and say, right, I can handle this. I'm going to make sure that if that ball goes over the top, I'll get there first by just dropping off. If I go tight, if the ball goes short, I might have to go tight, and someone else drops in. So it's pretty straightforward, and it still relates to our game. At times when we were playing, I hated it when you've got 3 defenders there and you've got 1 centre forward. You've got to
causes its own problems.
It does, and we would always say 2v1, and was always safe way of doing things, 1 in front and 1 behind, so that you got it covered. But I think now in this game, you've got to be prepared to push that extra man forward and try and put them on the back foot and don't let them out and squeeze the spaces and press high. And this is how these good teams do it, and they make it very hard for you to get out. They can make you look foolish. You can see that.
I think if you're going to play this style of football, you need to do that. You
absolutely.
Can't do that and not that.
From the keeper, what's the keeper called who's injured? Hermanson. I thought he was brilliant against Coventry. He kept us in that game with one of the saves. It was a brilliant save. A little bit slow with his feet, trying to play, worried me a little bit. If he might make 1 or 2 mistakes, but he's trying to do the right things, and it was good. So that you can see what we are playing straight away from the keeper. Every time we're going to get it, but you're going to get some teams that are going to push even more men forward, and we will get caught out a few times, but hopefully not too many.
Hopefully not too many, and hopefully not today, of course. Up in Yorkshire, of course, facing Huddersfield. Let's hear now from their former goalkeeper, Matt Glennon, who tells us what to expect from his old side.
Well, it's quite a tough one. Obviously, last year they did phenomenal, beating likes of Sheffield United and Middlesbrough, and staying in the division was fantastic and very surprising, I think, to a lot of people. So coming into the new season, there's a bit of expectation, I think. As much as they try and dumb it down at the club and Neil Warnock and everything, I do think people are expecting a better season than last year, a more consistent season. It didn't start well at Plymouth. They actually played quite well for large portions of the game, but defensive mistakes, it was awful. It was absolute playground stuff. They know that. They're not used to doing that. A couple of injuries meant a bit of a jig around quite early in the game. But again, the players would have been happy with the way they conceded those 3 goals. So it was a long way to go for not a very good result. But it won't be what people expect. It won't be the tough tackling, long ball type thing that people have lazily put towards him, really, because all I saw last season was a man that adapted to each game, used the squad that he's got. You know what I mean? Because it's not full of household names. It's not full of people that go straight to and know who they are straight away. But there's some good footballers in there, and he'll chuck out a team which he thinks can, frustrate Leicester because you've got to, because you're a very good outfit. But at the same time, he can try and get something.
Thanks to former Huddersfield goalkeeper there, Matt Glennon, for that. Don't forget, you can either watch or listen to today's game on Fox's Hub. Obviously, it depends where you are. Certain international audiences can watch the game, but if you're in the UK here, then you can listen to the game. You can either get a listen live pass over the month or over the season. Again, there are early bird offers as well, so the sooner you get in for those seasonal passes, the better. That's for listening to every game. And then in terms of watching the game on Fox's Hub today, if you're in certain territories, you can do that. You can either buy a pass game by game, a monthly pass again, or indeed a seasonal pass. For any more details, all you need to do is head to lcfc.com/Fox's Hub. Obviously, we were hearing there from a Huddersfield point of view, Matt. They would have been really disappointed with last week, facing newly promoted Plymouth, albeit away from home. But on the face of it, 3-1 is a poor result going all the way there. But they actually did play quite well, and we heard there they did create chances.
Yeah, seemingly so. And tough fixture, isn't it? Going away. I know they're newly promoted, but Plymouth, just the distance and the travel aspect of it, and it sort of plays tricks on some people's minds as well. First game of the season, it seems like the end of the earth that you're travelling to down there, and they're going to be right behind their team, aren't they? The home supporters, and giving it their all, and they're not a bad side either. So there's no shame in that result. Obviously not how they would have intended, but it's a very early day to make it a general judgment on teams, etc. Neil Warnock, Mac Lennon saying there about, perhaps it might surprise a few people like their style of play. I'm sure they'll have that abrasive side to them, without a doubt, because he's naturally instilled by Neil Warnock. But he obviously is proving to be quite adaptable, whichever, as he has been throughout the years, hasn't he? And there is his
liable to
sidekick,
kick
Ronnie
off.
Jepson.
He's going to be very animated on the side, I can tell you. And
he'll stir him up a bit.
And I know, he wouldn't have changed in his ways and in a lot of his ways, but he's had to adapt to this change in the modern era of football. And do you know what? I would have fancied him to get us out of trouble last season if we'd have just had him for the last few games, But it is what it is, and but yeah, like I say, I think Leicester have got to be committed here. They've got to be organised, and I think that extra class that we have in this division, we've got better technical football players. There's no doubt about that, and we're going to be tested in all areas this season in different ways. Different grounds, like I said, and Huddersfield come unstuck at Plymouth. They made a few errors by the sounds of it. I followed the scoreline. I think it was 1-0 to Plymouth, and then 1-1. They equalised Huddersfield, and then they run 2 70-minute goals in. So that's a ground that's going to be a difficult place to go. Like I said earlier, with Millwall and these places, Norwich is always a massive. Home fans with them yellow shirts shouting, these are the games that you're going to have to be strong-minded, and that's where we need players. If I had any things about last year, it was about leadership. I thought we lost leadership and we didn't have any leaders, so that again is still, there's not someone that I can just say, yeah, he's a proper leader just yet, but I think overall we're buying into what Enzo wants, the game plan and how we play football, and he's got the first 2 results in the bag. This is a big test, and it'd be great to come away here with a win and settle, and that will really fill confidence to everybody, and show what good players they are, and that's why we've been in the Premier League for so long.
Yeah, do you agree with that that potentially just the quality of the players will shine through? I
think you need a little bit more than that. They need to show some different aspects to their game, without doubt. I think in this division, yes, I think ultimately the quality, without it sounds a little bit arrogant, that Leicester have, they've got to go out there and prove it. But they do have the depth in the squad, and everyone else is looking at them thinking, I wish I was part of that in this division. But you've got to go and perform and produce things. But ability, technical ability alone, it'll only get you so far.
Well, he's an England international.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Started a Champions League final.
Yeah. Listen, quality performer, and Leicester have numerous players, with similar attributes, but they've got to forge that togetherness as well. But I think I see what Walsh is saying there, really. But at the moment, there doesn't seem to be sort of a natural leader out there who's going to gel the players together. Cody perhaps is that sort of personality. He'd be good in and around the camp, injured or not. But I think the manager he's quite an astute individual. He knows it's not just about technical aspects of it. He knows they're going to have to dig in. They're going to have to pull together, and I think he's trying to develop that sort of mentality around the camp as well. Because also he comes across quite amiable and smiley, and he's quite personable. But he's also got a ruthless streak.
In any winning team, though, Matt, you need that experience. You need the youth, and you need the right blend of players, and like you say, you need that togetherness and that team spirit, which we've shown everybody, you know, when we've won the league. So we've showed you how a group of players can work together and find a way, but stick together through the good times and through the bad, and then you come out on top. And it's up to the older players to help the younger players, because these younger players come in, think, you know, they can have 2 good games and then they go off the boil. You know, that's up to the older, you know, pros. That was Johnny Evans, it was Schmeichel, it was Morgan, who'd keep them grounded.
And that grit and togetherness and determination was slightly fractured last season.
Yeah,
and
that's because we didn't have a leader for me, mate. It's like we were going out on the pitch without a leader. There were people looking around, not knowing what they were doing, really.
Certainly an element of that. I think the manager will recognise that and sort of address it in developing not just the technical side, but that mentality, a winning, ruthless mentality, and they need to recapture that.
Yeah, well, using the squad obviously will be vitally important this season, with lots of midweek games. We saw a midweek game, of course, against Burton Albion in midweek. From that, Enzo Maresca has made 4 changes to the side that beat Burton Albion in midweek. Just a quick recap on that starting 11 then. Jakub Stolarczyk is in goal. Callum Doyle, Yannick Vestergaard, Wout Faes and Ricardo across the back 4, with Winks, Dewsbury Hall and Pratt in midfield. It's Steffi Mavididi on the left, Wanya Marcel Madavadua on the right, and Kelechi Iheanacho up front. Last time these two sides met in the Championship, or certainly back in 2012 anyway, it was a pretty famous game for one man, and one man in particular. That was Anthony Knockaert, who scored 2 absolutely fantastic goals. I think any Leicester fan that made the trip up to Yorkshire that night will remember both of these goals very fondly. Well, yeah, I think that's certainly got to be up there with one of the best braces ever scored in the Championship. Speaking of wingers, obviously that was Anthony Knockaert there. Wanya Marcel Madavadua. Matt makes his first league start for the club. What are you expecting from him today?
Yeah, well, he's just slipped in there. Well, certainly under our radar, because we were talking about other individuals and other parts of the team. But yeah, what a big occasion for him. I have to admit, mildly surprised that he's been introduced from the starting lineup so early. He still seems quite raw to me, but I've seen a fair bit of him in under-23 football, and then started this season. Obviously, he's featured a few times, and I thought he threatened to do really well against Burton, but he was up against quite a dogged defender in Caprice on Tuesday night, and never really provided that end product. But he's a little bit different. He's got something about him, and I think if he just settles it down a bit, because I thought just at times a little bit over ego, he's trying to do too much, and just ease your way into the flow of things, if you like. But Maresca's obviously seen something he likes in him.
He's prepared
to give him the opportunity.
To give these younger lads a chance, which I like. You know, even when I was 17, and Larry Lloyd gave me David Lowe, Mike Newell, so, you know, all these young lads a chance, and it really worked. You know, and it shows you if you get that right balance. And so Madavadua, if you know, I've not seen too much of him. I'm looking forward to seeing him play.
Yeah. Hopefully we see that today. But very quickly before we hand over to the guys up there in Yorkshire, what's the key today, Walshy? Is it quite?
I think the key is organisation. I think it's understanding the game plan, being committed and showing that passion that we need to, and contesting and winning the individual battles. I think that's important. I think Neil Warnock will have, they'll be closed down quick in areas and spaces, but hopefully we can just create that little bit more in areas that is going to cause them problems and make them make mistakes like they did against Plymouth.
Yes, it isn't too late to purchase your passes to either listen or to watch the game this afternoon on Fox's Hub, depending on where you are. Wherever you are, you can listen to it though, so you can purchase a monthly pass or a seasonal pass to listen to this game this afternoon on Fox's Hub. And then depending where you are, location, region-wise, you can also watch it on Fox's Hub by either purchasing a game pass, a monthly pass, or a seasonal pass. To find out all the details, all you need to do is head to lcfc.com/Fox's Hub. Well, we're just under 15 minutes now away from kickoff at the John Smith Stadium up in Huddersfield, where hopefully Leicester City can make it 3 wins out of 3 at the start of this new season.
Who wants to join me? Shopping at King Power. 3-day, 2-night stay booked. See ya.
To the rooftop bar.
To snap a photo for my IG.
To eat the famous pad thai.
The new collection is calling me.
Sure, there's a perfume I want. Let me ask my sis.
Yes, of course I'm going. Leicester City, Fox never quit.
Let's go. It's possible because King Power is more than just duty-free. Shop latest trends in beauty and gadgets. Your coolest staycation. The legendary Pad Thai, best street food in town. A place to support your team. A fancy dinner. Enjoy shopping at downtown stores and online. Or even the thrill of a new experience. Explore your everyday possibilities. The power of possibilities. King Power.
Lamiat is the belief that perfection lies within the details, where the finest ingredients deserve the finest craftsmanship. In every pursuit of perfection, there is passion and perseverance, where attention to detail inspires a masterpiece that's balanced and in harmony. This is the Lamiat philosophy, brewed into every drop of Chang beer. This is the taste of Thai perfection. Chang beer. We brew friendship.
Our lives move quickly. They're journeys of many choices. Journeys within which we each take our own turns, for our own reasons. Trading is no different. Doing your thing, showing off your skills, changing the result for yourself. It's easy when you know how. With its financial services, FBS makes trading simple from anywhere, on any device, putting knowledge and tools in your hands, so that whether you have a lot of time or only a little, and whether you're doing it just for yourself today or for someone else's tomorrow, your ability will shine through. Wherever you want your trading journey to take you, it begins with FBS. FBS. Make your own way.
It's possible to be, to go, to get, to be, to go, to get. Dining, traveling, shopping, chilling, vacationing, cheering. Everything is possible every day. The power of possibilities. King Power.
Is there anyone else from Leicester here? You guys can't speak to me. I just need help with some of these pronunciations. Yeah. Is there anybody else?
Hello everyone, good afternoon and welcome to a increasingly wet John Smith Stadium here in Kirklees. West Yorkshire is the venue. For the first time this season, it's an away trip in the Sky Bet Championship as Neil Warnock's Huddersfield Town hosts Leicester City. Well, it's been the ideal start for the Foxes so far, with 2 wins from 2 and 3 from 3. Will be hard against the side coached by Neil Warnock, they always are. Huddersfield, one of the bookies' favourites to get relegated at the start of this season, and after losing at his old side Plymouth last weekend, they were beaten here by Middlesbrough in the League Cup on Tuesday night. They dropped out of the Premier League several years ago now, and it's their 5th campaign back in the second tier. Warnock delivered another miracle last season as he steered them well away from danger. However, with limited incomings this time around, it could be another long campaign for the Terriers fans, who always make a noise here. Leicester looking to build on wins against Coventry and Burton, further north here from home. They haven't lost against Huddersfield in their last 11 league meetings since 1995, and come here this afternoon for the first time since 2017. Hopefully, they emerge with 3 points to maintain a 100% start. Every kick brought to you here on Fox's Hub. Delighted to say alongside me for this one is former defender Jerry Taggart. We'll bring him in just a second. Quickly, the team news. Huddersfield, first of all, who make just the one change from the side that started against Plymouth Argyle last week. Jonathan Hogg comes in to captain the side in midfield as Romani Edmonds-Green makes way. Their goalkeeper is Lee Nichols. Across the back, they've got Tom Edwards, Matty Pearson, who's shaking off a dead leg, Michał Helik, who plays at centre half, and Josh Ruffles at left back. In midfield, Hogg and Jack Rudoni. And on the right, it's Sorba Thomas. In the middle, Brahim Diarra and Josh Karoma play behind central striker Danny Ward. For Leicester City, a number of changes. First off, a championship debut in goal for Jakub Stolarczyk. Mats Hermansson makes way. 1 year, Marcel Madivadua comes in. Dennis Pratt and Kelechi Iheanacho starts up front as well. Jamie Vardy misses out as he comes in. Wilfred Ndidi and Casey McAteer, the others to make way. So Leicester with Stolarczyk in goal. Ricardo Pereira at right back. Fass, Vestergaard and Doyle across the back line. Those we've seen already. It's fairly fluid in the way they play. Winks sitting in front with Marcel Madivadua and Dewsbury Hall either side, Pratt and Mavi Didi either side of Kelechi Iheanacho. Delighted to say Jerry Taggart is sat alongside me for this one. Jerry, picturesque stadium that it is. Leicester haven't been here in many a year. What can we expect today?
Well, I think you summed it up. It's going to be a tough game for Leicester City. We spoke about staying in the game last week against Coventry, digging deep when you have to, and it's going to be pretty much the same today. There'll be no fancy football from Neil Warnock's side, that's for sure. And he'll try and make it as hard as possible. Leicester have to come to terms with that, cope with that. And then obviously try and get this new way of playing football, try and get that up and running as quick as possible, because there's no doubt, even though with the changes they've made, there's still enough quality in this Leicester side to go out and make a big dent today.
In terms of the team news that's being bellowed out over the PA system here, what do you make of it? 4 changes. Vardy loses out, Iheanacho comes in, goalkeeper change as well, plenty of them involved at the start of the season. Danny Ward back on the bench, by the way, today.
Yeah.
Go through the subs: Justin, Vardy, Albrighton, Chowdhury, Ndidi, Everson and Ben Nelson. So 2 goalkeepers among the subs.
2 goalkeepers on the bench, which is a bit...
Just in case.
A bit strange, but yeah. Listen, who knows what the manager's thinking is on the selection, or the bench selection with 2 keepers. But as far as the starting 11, I thought Iheanacho came on last week and played really well, along with Dennis Pratt. A bit harsh on Wilfred Ndidi, I have to say, because I thought on Wednesday night he was probably most people's man of the match against Burton, so probably a little bit harsh on Wilfred. Jamie, I thought, just didn't look 100% fit last week, so maybe that's the selection dilemma Enzo Maresca had in putting Iheanacho in. But you've got to say that when Kelechi came on last night, he played a big part in helping Leicester get over the line. So no real complaints with the starting 11. I think the keeper might have a bit of an injury. Hermansen, so that's why he's not starting. So yeah, listen, there's still good quality on show today for Leicester City, make no bones about it.
And of course, players missing as well in Harry Souttar, Victor Christensen, Patson Daka, Timothy Castagna, all senior players. I guess it just shows the strength they've got in the squad at the moment, but I think we can comfortably say in Leicester's position there's likely to be more ins and outs before the end of August.
Absolutely. It's been well documented that Leicester are trying to bring some players in, and I suppose the flip side of that is, unfortunately, some players need to go out, and that is football, and that is where Leicester are at in regards to the finances, getting players in and out for this championship season. And I suppose the quicker that's achieved, and the quicker the manager gets the movement that he wants and that he needs, then he will have a more settled squad to work with, and that will hopefully in turn bode well for the rest of the season.
Players just in the tunnel beneath us here in the main stand at the John Smiths. Decent crowd in for this one today, surrounded by woodland on the far side. It is a very picturesque arena, but we have had rain showers in the build up to this one. Leicester City's first away league game of the season comes at the John Smiths Stadium, a venue they haven't visited since September 2017 when they played out a 1-1 draw here. Leicester hoping to make it 3 wins from 3 in all competitions to start their season in style. They march out here in their change kit of black with the sky blue sash across from left to right as we look at them lined up in front of us here. And Ricardo is the man captaining the side today. What will Jakub Stolarczyk be thinking ahead of this one, do you think? Do you think it helped him that he's had that game in midweek just to get any of those kind of nerves out of his system?
Absolutely. Making your debut at any level or in any competition is a massive deal, and it will be no different for young Jakub. As I said today, you're probably going to see a slightly different style of football to even what Burton put on show on Wednesday night. I think set pieces are going to be massive. You look at the Huddersfield side, it's got a few big lumps in their team as well, so corners, free kicks, going to be massive today. And this is where Leicester have to dig deep and be strong. They're going to get the ball forward early, and they're going to take shots from all sorts of angles. I would say any sight on goal, I would say that there'll be shots being taken. There'll be lots of crosses coming into the box that he's going to have to deal with. So yeah, it's a big game for Jakub Stolarczyk today.
Final preparations here at the John Smiths. Good to have you with us wherever you are around the world today. Championship football does mean that we can bring you much more of the action live on your screens. The radio option is there as well. Huddersfield have had a tricky build up to this one. They've only brought in Chris Maxwell, goalkeeper from Blackpool, on a free. He's on the bench, and Tom Edwards, who started right back, has joined on a season loan from Stoke City. Plenty of outs for them as well along the way, including some of their first team members. But it feels like a lifetime away for them, really, that they were in the Premier League, because there's no real what's the word I'm looking for? There's nothing from it, is there? There's nothing left here. There's no none of the team members, there's none of the staff. It's all changed since then.
Well,
legacy is the word I'm looking for.
And that sort of shows you how difficult it is to get out of this division. As you say, a team like Huddersfield, who went up, stayed up in the first year, and for them obviously disappointingly went down after that. And it's just so hard to get out of this championship league. And I always say the quality might not be there that's in the Premier League, but the dogged determination, the mental aptitude that the players bring in a league like this, it really is quite incredible. With a 46 league game season, the standards are very, very high indeed.
I think as we've seen with some teams, fine if you don't go back up at the first attempt, it happens. If you don't go at the second attempt, okay.
Yes.
After that, it becomes difficult, especially when the parachute payments run out.
Absolutely. You know, we're yet to see where this league takes Leicester City, but the early signs are good, we have to say. Let's just hope that, you know, today, coming away, first away game of the season in the league against the teams you said who are favourites to go down. But Neil Warnock's the sort of manager who'll play on that, you know, and play on that they're underdogs today and have nothing to lose today.
You can imagine the kind of team talk that's just gone on beneath us, can't you?
Listen, he's a wily old fox. He's not, you know, he's still in management for a good